Hey guys, today I'll be working on the Python tutorials again. So today we'll be working on sentinels. So sentinels in Python are a special value that mark the end of a sequence of values. So for example, you can use 0 to mark an end of values after a loop. You can use anything, the letter N, for a prompt from the user. Y could be a prompt if the answer is yes. So any of those could work. You could use whatever you want. So let's just get into the code then. Just a simple example. So let's have a constant here. So we have tax factor. Tax factor points to 0.0065. So here we'll write a print statement. We'll say enter the property lot number. So it's a property tax example. Here we'll say print or enter 0 to end. We could just put that on one line. So in this case we have 0 as our sentinel value. You could have asked the user to just hit N or Y, whatever. So here we'll say lot points to int casted to input, and we'll say lot number. I'll put a new line here just to space it out. So here we'll say we'll have a while loop here, so we'll say while lot does not equal to 0. Of course, in Python we have the shift semicolon at the end of the loop. No square brackets, and we'll just indent in Python. In here we'll say value points to float casted to input again. Here we'll say enter the property value. With a new line again. And here we'll say tax points to value times tax factor. Here we'll print the property tax. or just the tax, I guess, which is a property tax in this case, I think. So we'll just do another print statement here. We'll say property tax $, for format, and we'll call we'll just call the we'll call another so we have property tax. No, I messed it up, sorry. So we have property tax. We have a $, so that's going to be in the string, then a comma. Then here we'll call the format function. We'll say tax. We'll format tax and then pass in a string here for the format string. We'll say dot period. Dot comma and then 2f. Hopefully those might have to change those to order. That should be alright. So here we'll just put 2f. That'll be all. Man, might be backwards actually. Comma dot. We'll just go with that, comma dot, because when you do your decimal to the 2f, that might be right. If not, we can change it when we come back. So then here we'll say enter the lot number or press 0 to end. Enter the next lot number or 0 to end. The lot points to input. So lot points casted to input to lot number. So lot cast, so input, and actually, yeah, there is a cast here, so loss points to casted into the input function, which has the prompt lot number. So here our sentinel is going to get calculated with this lot. So let's just start from the top. We have a constant here, tax factor to some value. Enter the property lot number or enter 0 to end. So here we're going to say we could just put that we could have just put that string in the input, but we have an extra prompt above. So it gets the lot, which is safe to have lot variable that's on the fly that we created. I guess with Python you can't, unless you initialize variables to 0 and strings to empty spaces, perhaps that might work. If you don't do that, then these variables have to be on the fly then. Which you can, we could have set here lot points to 0 up here. And we could have reset it back here. That works too if you need to do that. So here we'll say, so we'll enter this loop here. While lot is not equal to 0, so while the user does not enter a 0 for the lot number here, which is casted to an int. And we'll say value, we'll get a value for the property value, tax points to that whatever property tax, which is formatted into the next lot number. So we'll we'll step through this with the debugger. I'll hit Control S and click the debug icon on the top right corner. So we have tax factor points to 0.06065, so I'll step over that. We can see our variable here, tax factor points to, which is a float, and then our value. Then here we got a print statement that's going to print out to our console. Then we'll have a lot, our lot variable, which points to, which is going to basically produce an int for us. It's going to ask for an int. Well, actually, we don't tell it to ask for an int, and we don't do any error checking. But we're going to enter an int here, so a whole number. If this were a real code or app, you'd want to do error checking here. We'll get into that later on. So here we'll say, so what I mean by error checking is that if we want to make sure the user enters a whole number, which is, yeah, so a whole number, not a float and not a string. So there's ways to create parameters to make sure that doesn't happen. There's probably built-in functions too for that, or you can make them. So later on, we'll talk about that later on. So here we'll just enter like 5, and I'll hit enter. So while lot does not equal to 0, that is true because lot is not equal to 0, therefore execution will proceed into the loop. And we have here value point, so it's going to get a value now, property value, which is going to be casted to a float. I'll step over, I'll click the variables here. Okay, it's waiting for property value. Let's just say the property value is like 6 million. Vancouver prices. That's your like your average price in, well actually no, the average price in Vancouver is probably like 3 to 4 million. Which is pretty crazy. It's going down now, I guess, with the interest rates, but it was at an all-time high. So here we have, so we'll enter that, I'll hit enter. Then we'll have tax points to value times tax factor. So when I click the debugger, it'll have our variables here again. So yeah, so we got tax here is 5. Is that? I got a big screen, 20-something inches, 22, 24 maybe. Not that big, but it's like pretty far away, and this text is so small, so I can't really see it. We got where's tax? Here we go. Nope. Oh, we haven't stepped over tax. That's why it's not here. So once I step over, then the variable will come here to the debugger. So we have tax points to 30. What was that? Say 35,000, 39,000, something like that. So here we'll print the property tax. It's going to print to the console here. So enter the property lot number, enter 0 to end. We entered 5, enter the property value 6 million, property tax 39,000. So then here enter the next lot number. I'll step over that. That's our prompt here, and oh, actually, that's just a extra prompt, not an actual prompt. It's just a alert to the user, I guess. So then here we'll have lot points to int, enter a lot number. I'll step over that. So I'll enter 0 just to show. Actually, no, I'll do 1 that doesn't do 0, so I'll enter 1. While lot is unequal to 0, course, for our lot now is reset here. Lot now points to 1, originally it was 5, so we reset lot here at the bottom. So after we got to this line, once again, execution, follow the cursor here, so execution just went to the end of the line, back like this, under the line, back up here to the loop condition, because we're still in the indentation here. So a loop back up here, so now it's going to check the condition while loop does not equal to 0, so while lot does not equal to 0. So we have here lot now set to 1, 1's not 0, therefore this condition is true, therefore this execution steps, it starts at the next line. So now this thing repeats. Whoops, I stepped into the built-in functions here, okay. Or step out. So we got $100. Oh, I think I stepped out of the debugger too. Let's just stop and rerun that. Apologize for that. So you guys get the idea that the loop repeated itself, it looped again. It performed another iteration because our lot was not 0, so we were here. So let's just step through this again. Can we hard code this stuff? Okay, I guess not. Yeah, I guess. I guess not, so let's just step in. So enter lot number, enter 4. While lot does not equal to 0, step in value. I should say the value of our house is like $10,000, 100,000, 1 million, 10 million. Let's say it's 10 million. So we have tax points to value times tax factor. So tax points to value times tax factor. Okay, so this is just going to be a calculation that'll come up in our variables here. Print a statement again. Lot points to, so once waiting, it's going to wait for another lot. Here we'll enter, I guess we'll enter 3 this time. Hit enter. While lot does not equal to 0, we'll step in. Value points to float, enter the property value. I'll just say we had a side house that was like 5 million or something. Did 5 million? I'll hit enter. Tax again, will get printed to the console. Lot number again, it's going to ask for, let's say 0 this time to show what happens. We're going to come to this condition, so loop back up here again after the second iteration. So now we have lot points to 0 in our variables here. I highlighted it in the blue color. So then we have, so now while lot is not equal to 0. So if it's saying while lot does not equal to 0, well lot is 0, that means this condition is false. So this condition is only true. The condition in the while loop is only true if lot is not equal to 0. So it has to be anything but 0, then it's true. But in this case it is 0. It's the only case that it's 0, which means it's the only false case. That means this whole loop, which is comprised of these lines, will get skipped. I'll hit step in, and the program's going to stop here. As you can see, process finished with exit code 0, which just means there is no error, no system error for a 0 code. So that's it. So that's Sentinels here. So let's move on to the next code. What else we have? A couple more codes in this chapter, then we'll move on to functions. we'll start getting into some more advanced topics. So here we'll talk about input validation. So input validation is a process of inspecting data that has been input to a program to make sure it is valid before it is used in a computation. So input validation is often done with a loop that iterates as long as the input variables reference the right value. So let's see, we're going to have just an easy calculation here, so it's gonna get hours, gonna get a pay rate. Is there no loop here? Let's see here. Actually, no, let's do something, let's see, I have another example here, maybe we'll skip that one. We'll do something similar to what we just did here. So we'll use a string instead of 0. Alright, so let's do like a grocery store kind of example, I think. So I'll just delete all this. Excuse me, so we'll have a constant here, markup points to 2.5. We'll say another points to the string y. Well, I guess character in this case, but it's a string. Could have another str. So str just stands for string. So then here we'll so we'll have while another is equal to y. Okay, so this is how we check. So in Python, this is one way to check in Python to do a non-case sensitive loop or a prompt to a user. So for example, Java has a function, what was the function? I forgot. Equals ignore case. So it's literally, you write the condition like this, while equals ignore case. That's the function, and then you just put like this, y. So basically, it equals the ignore case. So you could be like, you could enter y or capital Y, and the function the loop will proceed. That's just an example in another language, so that you can see they're very similar. That's just a function to call. So here we can trick up the system here with just a little change. We can say while another str is equal to y. We could say or here. We can call or another str, if you can guess, is equal to y, capital Y. So we're saying here while another string is equal to lowercase y, or another string str is equal to capital Y. Then proceed into the code. So while another string is equal to y, or another str is equal to lowercase y, or another str is equal to uppercase y. Then we'll proceed into the the loop. If not, the code will get, if it's not Y at all, if you hit N or anything else, the loop gets skipped, the program stops. So here we'll say, we'll create a wholesale, I'll camel case this time. So camel case is just, I'm going to capitalize the second word if they're together, or you could use the function underscore like this, whatever you want. So I'll say wholesale points to float. Here I'll say we'll cast it, cast it to a float. We'll call the input function. We'll say enter the items. Or enter the items wholesale cost. So let's say we're making a little grocery store. If you ever worked in a grocery store, you know, if you worked in the back in like in the storage, they have this little computer by the docks, or like by the docking area where the trucks come in, and there's like a computer sitting there, and they'll have like a program like this. Like they'll like try to. It's a real easy thing that someone just coded. It's literally like this. That's how they do it. It comes up on a little ghetto black screen, like you know, like in a command prompt screen, and it's literally like that. Sometimes it's like gray or something. That's how they do those things. Those grocery store, those old school, even the old school ones where you type, those it's like a computer with one program on it. That's how they do it. It's literally done like this. And now they have it on like iPads and stuff. It's the same thing. It's literally just done like this. So here we'll just enter the items wholesale cost. So it's saying wholesale points to float. Input, enter the items wholesale cost, and then we'll have a calculation here. Retail points to casted float to, actually no, sorry, retail points to wholesale times markup. It looks like a grade 2 math problem, right? But that's what it is. Like that's all the code is really. So retail points to wholesale times markup, and then we'll just print it out here. Retail price, so retail price, we'll have a $sign for formatting in the string. Outside we'll hit a comma and then a space. We'll call the format function. We'll pass in retail, comma, another string. What do we say? Comma dot 2f. So yeah, we were right last time. That's it. And here we'll say, we'll prompt the user if they want to do another calculation. So we'll point another str to this input. That's one way to do it. So we say another string points to the input function casted to. Actually, no cast because we just want a string. So we'll say, do you have another item to process? Question mark. We can go like this: y/n. So if you've seen a Linux or a Windows command prompt, or like when you like set up the BIOS, they have like these like questions. Or when you first install Windows, you have to hit Y or N, or maybe with Macs too, like iMacs, the computers, Apple computers. When you set it up, there may be some kind of prompts where they have these symbols here, so they put in square brackets. You can enter yes or no. That just means yes or no. So do you have another item to process? Y/n here. And then that's all. That's the code. So we'll save that. Breakpoint here. That's it. So we'll just hit the debug icon, save and run, or save and debug. So markup, we'll step over the constant markup. Another str points to lowercase y. So we have another str points to the string lowercase y. So here we have while another str is equal to y, or another str is equal to uppercase y or lowercase y, either or. Loop condition is true, so it is. It's set to y. So it was true, we stepped in. Wholesale points to float, so casted float to the input function, so it's gonna get input from the user. We'll step in. We'll step over that, and then I'll enter something here. So we'll just enter $100 or something. So retail points to wholesale times markup. Calculation will get updated. Our variables will get updated automatically. So print out the retail price. We'll print out the retail price here. Another str, so now it's going to wait for another input here. So I'll step over this. It prompted us, do you have another item to process? So if I hit N and hit enter and step over, loop condition was false, so it didn't step in because we didn't press Y. So let me just add a /n here. So with the whoops. So hit /n here. So you can see what happened. So if I just run this, we don't really need to step. I've shown you guys. Shown you guys how to step over the code in the debugger, which is really helpful, especially in like large projects. Even if you don't have an error, you just want to see how the code works. That's the best way to do it. So we can now. I'll just hit run this time. So enter the whole items wholesale cost. Let's just say it's $100 again. Do you have another item to process? Yes. Enter the items wholesale cost. Say $200. You have another item to process? Yes. Let's just say $5. Do you have another item to process? So it'll keep going. I'll hit yes. So this is going to go forever as long as we hit lowercase y or uppercase y. So let's say $2. Do you have another item to process? Yes. $10. Yes. $12. Yes. $11. Yes. $1. Yes. $1. Yes. $1. See what's happening? It's just continuing to run forever. Do you have another item to process? I'll hit N. The program finishes. So that's how those programs work at the grocery store. You just keep inputting things until you're finished, done. Like you're done with the either the scan-in. You could scan in barcodes once you're done scanning. Sometimes you have to hit 0 on those keyboards if you notice that, or hit enter. That's the same thing, because if we just say while, we could say like while basically we could get this to be like while it's not enter. We'll do an example with input to show that. I think coming up, but if we have if you just ask for input and you hit enter, it proceeds to the next line. So that's how that thing how those things work. You just hit enter and it proceeds to the next line. So in a grocery store on those systems, those like at the checkout, those price systems, that's how those things work. So same thing. Alright, so what do we have now? Video is starting to get long. So we may just end that there. Take a break and then we'll come back to part 2 because it's starting to be 35 minutes here, so it's gonna get long if we have 2 or 3 more examples. So if you guys want to see the rest of the series, of course, subscribe to the channel, like the video if you want, share the video with your friends. If you guys want to see more programming videos, other languages, or investing videos, you can subscribe as well if you want. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Thanks for watching.